And hello everybody, this is I, Heroscaper, your paint-covered friend today. Today we are painting the world champion himself, the Mecha Dragon. The dragon riding a Mecha Dragon. Hope everyone's doing well today on this lovely No Gray Thursday. You may have noticed I did do some pre-work before the stream started. Honestly, I was just priming Gimbal, then I kind of got carried away and started just painting. Without even realizing. Essentially, I primed black, then did a zenithal prime of brown over this. Then I airbrushed copper, and then I added some glazes with some royal brown ink, just to kind of tone it down a bit. And then I went a step further and used a dry brush of brass, just to kind of give it a bit more sheen. So all this say, let's work on some more details of Gimbal and talk Heroscape while we're at it. Hope everyone's doing well today. We're taking some black green and we are gonna work on these narrow areas of Gimbal herself in this mech cockpit. It is somewhat hard to get all these properly, so you just want to be careful to hit just the areas you want and try to avoid, if you follow the same steps as I did, avoid finished areas. At least finished areas on the back. If you are planning on covering up other areas with green, then that's fine. And we're just using the tip of our brush to pull out all these corners here. I honestly wouldn't recommend using a standard white zenithal prime on this model. I mean, you can. You just really want these unreachable areas to be black shadow, ideally, instead of white. Okay, I forgot to post this. Let's post this as well. That's me, always just doing the stuff I should have done before I go live. Always have trouble finding that. There we go. All right, let's get back to business here. Putting some paint on our dragon. Gimbal's great if you just don't have enough dragon in your dragon, so you slap another dragon in that dragon. But I'm honestly fine with a somewhat chill stream tonight as well. It's been a long week. Very hot. It was 100 degrees today where I was at with 70% humidity, and I was out in it all day. So I'm a little I'm a little overcooked right now. Yeah, I have have all the new Secret of the Citadel stuff in hand. It's honestly just great. These models are great. I'm really looking forward to getting them painted. The top half of your Gimbal's head fell off? That's not good. Oh, like the actual jaw? My hand fell off somewhere, and I think it's on the ground. I'll have to see if I can find it. I do worry about losing these pieces. Oh, like the actual... That's not good. Is it gluable, or is it something that has to be like replaced? We're going to get some dark silver for the metallic bits here. From Pro Krill. The complete jaw, like King Kong style, just rip the jaw in half. It's something that can be glued together. That's good to hear. I hate when you have like a model and just a piece snaps off of it. That's always unfortunate though. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a strong connection point there, so that must have been a... Just hit it just right or something. Hello, hello, welcome to chat. Hope you're doing well today. Can you do a wash of red, give it a type of rust look? So I did do like a reddish brown. I kind of wanted it to still maintain like the brown hues of a goldy coppery look. But if you take like a red and mix it with a very like dark brown, you can get a really cool tone of that. Honestly, like the best wash to use for this kind of like if you want that rusty look is flesh tone wash. Like you can get a really nice, it's a little bit more of a rich shade, because I feel like the red might stain it a bit to make it look a bit more like red gold, which in of itself is a cool look, but I don't know if it'll fully get that like specific rust look you're looking for, unless you use it kind of in small patches. Like a Morrow red might be a little too overpowering. Metallics galore. Really wanting to do darker color schemes than the intended scheme. Albots is closer to what I think would be cool for mine when I eventually get to it. Still have stuff closer back to where to get to first. I feel that. Here, this is what I'm working through. I think this is just my backlog of Extrascape stuff I have to do, and that's not even including new stuff. One of these days I'll just do like a long stream. I'll like stream every day in a week or something, and we'll just knock them out because I want to get the new stuff all done. Yeah, Albots turned out really nice. See, it's one thing to be the world champion, but also be able to paint a magnificent model too in the process while doing it. That's impressive. Yeah, I like the OSL. We'll probably be doing a little bit glow effects on our guy too here. Good evening, Bill. Welcome, welcome. Well, the next one would be in Mecha Godzilla colors. I was honestly thinking about it. I do have another model that Renegade's sending my way, so maybe I can paint that one a little bit differently. I haven't figured it out yet. The thing is, Mecha Godzilla is just kind of steel. Like, there's not a lot of, fun things. It'd be more referential than an actual like cool scheme to copy. But I do like the red eyes and the... Could be a Kiryu Godzilla there. I was actually thinking of considering more like a Mecha Ghidorah scheme, but that's hard to translate with just one head. This one is so I will have two gimbals, and either one I'll sell or give away, and then one I'll keep. I don't know which one I'll keep yet. It just depends on how they turn out. Usually one's just to one I buy for myself, just because Renegade never tells me if they're sending me things, so I don't like to assume, and I like to have the stuff on hand. And then if Renegade does send me some stuff, then I try to do those more for tutorials or for giveaways, for tournaments or events and stuff like that, or for self if you know I need to buy a couple extra skate pieces. And I'm working through a bit of a backlog of commissions now, but we're getting them done. About done with some squads of revenants I was asked to do. Next up, I'll be doing another winter Halusha. If you saw my post for the ScapeCon prize table, someone asked me just to paint one of those. I'll probably do a tutorial on that one and release it around winter time is my plan. I've been doing 90% speed paints for my paint jobs. You find acrylics expensive to get into? Feels like you need minimum 3 of almost every color so you can hit base, midtones, and highlights. Or is it pretty simple to make base and highlights when mixing black and white to whatever your midtone is? So that's a good question for conversation there. I mean, it's as expensive as you want to get into it. You know, I use high quality paints and I use high quality brushes. But I just like having the options. Honestly, it's more of a laziness thing than a necessity thing. I just like having lots of colors I don't have to worry about mixing. Especially since I do like a lot of live stream. I just paint so much that time saving building mixes is quantifiable for me. For me, I recommend if you're looking to get into acrylics, don't do it all at once. Have a project you want to get into that has like 3 or 4 colors, and just every month buy 3 or 4 more colors. You know, if you can, I mean, it's a hobby. It's just treat it like your hobby money. Every month, spend 15, 20 bucks on paints. And at the end of the year, you'll have more paints than you know what to do with. It's definitely not an all at once kind of deal. And I always encourage people to try different brands out. Some brands do things better than stuff. Honestly, the reason I have so many paints is just I like to test what paints can do. So I'm a little bit knowledgeable about them. I wouldn't... So maybe this is a bit of my personal bias coming through. I personally wouldn't recommend starting off with Citadel paints if you're looking at cost. One, because they're a bit pricier for what you get. And two, those bottles do not seal very well, so you'll end up buying more paints than you think you need because they dry out if not stored properly. But like Army Painter paints are, you know, relatively pretty cheap to get into comparatively. Honestly, I'd spend more on brushes than paints. But mixing is a good skill to have too. Honestly, you just need everything that like comes in the Army Painter starter set, which you can get for like 30, 40 bucks or whatever. You can technically make any color needed, although that is a bit harder and it is a bit inconsistent. You probably need a few other colors in addition to it, but if you buy the starter set, you can just, I mean, it's not hard to mix colors. I mean, it's stuff they teach in kindergarten. You want purple, you mix blue and red together, and then you just use blue and white, and I mean black and white, just to raise the value and the saturation of it a bit. But the moment you want to start doing some more unique colors, like here on my palette, I have 5 paints laid out just for the greens I plan on using. And that's because it's simple. But if I wanted to, I could go this green here, and then I could use like a yellow I have on hand. If I have a yellow on hand. Use a bit of yellow. You just need to know a little bit more about colors to mix. And I can get my lighter colors. And there we go. Got my next shade down. And then I can mix a bit of white into this and go from there. And so that's, you can do that. But I like acrylics. Speed paints are good in of themselves. Like there's no shame in using speed paints. I just think the moment you want to start transitioning to different effects, speed paints are somewhat limited in what they can do, which is perfectly fine. I like using speed paints as the base and then building up from them. Like, let's see, like, there's a lot. Speed paints have lots of really cool techniques. Like this is something I just base coated in speed paints. I actually did the whole shell metallics, then speed paints over that, and then I'm going to take this red and then use normal acrylics, and now I have the option of control to build up the colors how I want them. But I saved a lot of time with the base coat. Like, you just take it, and now, since my base is here, I can start worrying about the fun part, which is the highlights. Yeah, speed paints have a lot of hidden tech. Honestly, I think the easiest way people use them is just over white for that quick coat. But for blending, for filtering, for washes, for shadow, for base coats, there's a lot of skills you can use with speed paint here. Recommendation for a brush. Let's see, it's not too expensive. I would recommend getting synthetic as you're learning to paint. Like this is right here is a sable brush, but this thing was $14, and that is because I got it on sale. This is you imported sable hair from UK. My FLG smuggles them in for me. You don't need to do that starting off. Honestly, for painting Heroscape, you don't need it. Like you switch over to these nice brushes once you want to start doing bigger things. I think it's once you kind of use them and once you learn brush control and brush safety, it's night and day. But they are a lot more fragile. I would recommend the Game Envy Flanix line. They are very durable synthetic brushes. They run about $8 to $10 a brush, but they're so durable you don't need a lot of them. And then have cheap brushes on hand. If you're like learning acrylics, you're gonna kill some brushes in the early days. Get the cheap pack of 20 brushes on Amazon and get some cheap figures to work on, so you kind of know how to take care of your brushes and what to do. When you have a brush, the most important thing is protecting this ferrule right here, where the brush and the hair connect. Once paint gets into that, especially once it dries, your brush starts your brush health bar starts going down. Gimbal sounds like a genius inventor. I think future machines from Valeric be cool, like Gimbal's designs. I would love some more steampunk stuff. It's honestly an aesthetic that we don't have a lot of in the Heroscape, and I think Valeric. I'm glad we have an avenue for kind of some ability to introduce some of this kind of old history, steampunky stuff into Scape. I would like. Let's see. We have like the giant blimps. We have this dragon. I think. I can't even think. Like almost like a hive, like a giant steampunk walker factory or something. I don't know, like a big steampunk engine or base would be really cool. I honestly would like some steampunk terrain. Steampunk, steampunk, steampunk. Roguescaper's speed paint tech video tutorial when? Would love to watch some breakdowns of how to use them for blending OSL, etc. You know what? I gotta put it on the list. To be honest, y'all, I've been in a bit of a editing slump. I have ideas on the board. I've even shot a lot of things. It's been hard for me to edit. I think it's just because I've been so busy painting. It's hard for me to kind of take time away from that and focus on making a quality video. And I'm hoping once the days get a little bit colder and I'm a little bit more caught up, then I can get some things done. That's why I've been streaming a lot more, is just like, at least I'm still around. But that's definitely a video I have pinned, because there's some really fun uses for speed paints beyond what people talk about. I think people forget that speed paint is just paint. So things you can do with paint, you can do sometimes with speed paint, even if it takes a different form. Has Roguescaper ever painted Warhammer 40k stuff? A little bit. I honestly don't like the theme as much of Warhammer 40k. Like, I think I have some Tyranids I painted around. But not much. It was just kind of some early models I got in like lots that I just kind of painted. I didn't even know what they were. I don't like the models that much, and I'll probably get a lot of flack for it. I don't know. Warhammer is designed to be easy to paint, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just don't like the models. Like, it's hard. Hello, hello. Okay, I think my mic died for a second. We're on the backup now. I had to hear that happening. Hello, hello. Can you all hear me, chat? Let's get some browns going. I got it now. I got the touch. But yeah, paints can be a bit expensive if don't take me to a paint store. I'm like a kid in a candy shop. I'll spend too much. You have to have a plan. But pretty much I was saying, I appreciate Warhammer. It's just not my speed. yeah. I think that was the sound of my mic dying right there. I was hoping it would last, but I don't think it had a chance. But I'm getting close to getting some videos finished. I think it's honestly the heat is just making me not want to do things. It's hard. It's been hard for me to want to even paint in this heat. I kind of come home from work and then I'm just like, blur. What's your thoughts on the full color 3D prints? I've seen them in passing. I mean, I think it's cool. I mean, anything to make us humans more relevant, right? I think it's a nifty thing. Because honestly, I would use that a bit more. Because when I'm 3D printing things, I don't always want to paint them up. Sometimes I just want something. Like, let's say it's my D&D game day. As much as I would love to paint a figure, but you know, I'm painting my. One time I painted an NPC for a campaign, and he died 2 sessions later, and I spent like 4 hours painting his model for him. So I'm, I'm down for it when you need that stuff. I think it's a cool tool to have, and from what I've seen, it looks pretty cool. Like, it looks pretty good. Yeah, I could foresee that becoming like really high quality in the future for stuff. I could foresee it replacing injection molding, like that factories use for Heroscape and all that kind of stuff. The problem with 3D printing is it's not scalable on a corporate level. They haven't cracked that code yet. The reason I painted all the copper off screen is you would all have just watched me paint copper for 2 hours today. And I don't want to do that, so I just used my airbrush. It took me like 20 minutes. Airbrushes are nifty tools to have, I will say. I'm still learning it, that's why I haven't talked too much about it, or try to use it, but they are nifty. When it's 70% humidity outside, I can't prime, unless I use my airbrush. I'm really enjoying Secrets of the Citadel so far. It's been such like night and day shift between the growing pains of Age of Annihilation to this wave. Things are pretty appropriately sized. They're cool models. Like with Age of Annihilation, I liked most of it. But sometimes I did feel like I had to kind of justify some things. Like, yeah, it's cool, but you know, I understand XXX about this thing. But I was kind of trying to justify it. I don't feel like I'm like trying to justify Secrets too much. these corners on Gimbal. I do wish Gimbal could pop out too. Just to paint him a little bit better. What do I like about Secrets of the Citadel? I judge all of Heroscape in 3 categories. I like aesthetic, I like theme, and I like mechanics. If you can get a marriage of those 3 things, even if 2 of those 3 things excel, then I'm pretty happy with my scape. And I feel like Secrets of the Citadel doesn't have lower than a 3 in any of those categories. Like, I think the worst unit in the Secrets of the Citadel for me is Kanak, who is not even mechanically a bad figure, but is a bit thematically, aesthetically lower on the ranking. That's a pretty good place to be in. And the commons that are coming in the future are they're really cool. They're really touching on some different touchstones. Also, the theming is just cooler. Like, Age of Annihilation really suffered from weak narrative in the beginning, as well as weak theming. It's just like, we start off not in conflict. We start off with really terrible box art. We start off with rough lore. Like, and that stuff doesn't affect the gameplay, but it does affect it to me. Like, it matters to me that lore is a little weak or if box art is a little bad. Like, it's part of the whole experience. I also like giant mushrooms, which I think are pretty cool. That's the main reason, is giant mushrooms rock. I haven't seen Spider-Man or the Odyssey yet. I am a poser. Or rather, a father of 3 who hasn't had a chance to go to the cinemas. But I've heard good things about both. No, I've been catching up. I built a mini theater in my garage, like a projector and a good sound system. So I've been having movie experiences at home. I watched recently. So I finally actually got around to watching Godzilla X Kong Do Empire, which I thought was an okay movie. I didn't hate it. I wasn't angry about it. I actually thought they did some interesting things for the series, and Pink Godzilla is awesome. But it's the MonsterVerse delivers on one thing, and that's big monsters slapping the crap out of each other. So I'll take that. It doesn't need to be a metaphor. Sometimes it could just be fun. I'm struggling to go see Spider-Man. I know it's cliche, but I am just superheroed out. But I do like Spider-Man, so that's like the struggle I have. Because people keep on asking me, and I'm just kind of not like jumping at the bit. Now, if this was Into the Spider-Verse, I would have already been there opening day. But like live action Tom Holland Spider-Man, I don't know. I think it'll be good, but I just don't have a lot of excitement for it. And Odyssey, I would like to see in theaters, but I realistically won't see that until it's available home. Just because it's a long movie. And I'm kind of Nolan'd out too. I'm about as Nolan'd out as I am Marvel superheroed out. They both kind of occupy a place of relative apathy in my brain. And that's not even me being pretentious. It's just how it is at this stage of my life. We're getting there. We've been a little sloppy with our grays in some area, but that's okay. We can go back and fix those. Let me see a picture of Gimbal real fast here. Let's see what old... He's got a lot of glowing green. I don't think I'll do glowing green. Maybe I will. I'll figure it out. Do you think the Monsterverse can survive after the death of the female actress that communicated with Kong? I mean, yeah, it's a tragic thing that happened, but ultimately, I think it can survive because the people are the least important part of the Monsterverse. And even if she was the most important person, the monsters are what makes the Monsterverse worthwhile. And it sounds callous to say that, but like if they recast her, then the story will plot on. Unfortunately, but it's still a tragedy in that regard. I don't want to diminish what happened there, but yeah, it did bum me out. It made me sad because on a lot of different levels. Something about just young talent gone too soon, you know. Gets to me. But the next one, they're going to space. So, looking forward to that. Maybe we'll get Space Godzilla. Maybe we'll get my boy Anguirus showing up. It's been too long since Anguirus showed up. The third best Godzilla monster. It's Godzilla. The Heisei Godzilla. Godzilla Returns. And then there's Megalon. And then Megalon also has no love. He's just a big bug. Let's see, what am I looking for here? Got me talking. I want gold. What do I want to do? He's got like white horns. Let's start building up these horns here. When you're working with acrylics, you definitely want to... The name of the game is thinning your paints, which people say a lot, and it often means nothing to someone just learning to paint. It's essentially how much of your previous layer do you want to cover? And you do that by controlling the overall opacity of the paint applied over the previous layer. Paint is inherently transparent, so the more you lean into the transparency of paint, the more you're able to create blends and different colors. Thinning paint also protects you if you need to go back. If you're doing a color and it's not working out, you still preserve those details because there's less paint actually applied. That's why I use my thumb all the time. I'm always testing the viscosity of my paint. Rather do it on my thumb than on the model. Is there a classic figure you'd like to be remastered for you to paint again? That is a good question. I think... I mean, there's always like Aquila's Alliance, which is kind of like the obvious answer. But I'm pretty happy with their paint jobs. It'd be like, what one would I want to go through and actually paint? I'm gonna have to think about this for a second. I mean, V-neck Viper has a classic paint job, but that one's just my favorite. A lot of the ones I wanted to repaint, they've got remasters, like Sanlan, Sudema. Honestly, I think Costumette, having a killer's, like an updated sculpt, would be, just because he's kind of such a scrawny little wolf, like a really detailed Costumette would be fun, just to justify owning him, which is kind of an out of left field choice. I'm hoping that we get a Zelrig to remaster, just because Zelrig's a fun model to paint. Painting dragons is always fun. They always look nice on the board, just because you can dry brush most of the detail on. And, yeah, Zelrig, maybe Wasaga, but I've painted a lot of Wasagas in my time, just from 3D prints. Like, the 3D prints of Wasaga, at this point, have gotten good enough where they look like just like the real thing. And Wasaga is not very good. Honestly, the flag bearers are pretty fun to paint, just because there's a little bit you can do with the decals. I think having a updated Akalar, which is a pretty sick model, but like it could definitely use a fresh coat of paint, would be nice. Alright, let's add some brighter tones to Gimbal's horns here. We're gonna get it. Let's go with a drab brown. I think after we just have a layer. I think also, I'm thinking common squads now. You know what? Ancient Skahin has one of the worst classic Heroscape paint jobs. I would like an updated model of that. And I don't have, that's one of the few models I don't own, so getting the new Skahin would be nice. Final answer. We're going to go back and touch up some of these areas that we missed. Gimbal. The amazing world of Gimbal. Alright. How about a remastered Vipers that look like Rannoch Vipers? I like the scrawny Vipers and the buff Vipers. I like having a separation between the two. I really do want a Rannoch Warlord. If I won Worlds, I'd probably ask for a Rannoch Warlord. Make him... Actually, could he be a Warlord and a Rogue? Would be kind of fun, just to tie into my name. I don't know, give him some kind of like strong, sneaky assassinate ability. Make them black, like the Elite Onyx Vipers. That'd be kind of cool. It could be the Renok Rogue Lord. Would be good. I don't know. Or a Morrow. I mean, I probably ask for a Morrow too. It could be Josiah. Honestly, those are things that I like, but really what I would ask for is an orc on a pterodactyl, just because that's something I've always wanted in Heroscape. Like an orc beast or champion on a big pterodactyl is probably what I would go for. A big Quetzalcoatlus. Heroscaper, I'm all Noland out. Also, does it come in black? You know what? I'm a man of dichotomy. What can I say? I don't even mind black. It's just gray. I I could talk crap about Nolan because I I loved him. For me, it was more personal than anything. And he's still a really competent director. I do think I'm just older now. I just don't think I like him as much as I did when I was in college. And that's okay. Like I have a copy of It Follows, his first student film on DVD. I've written papers about him. I don't know. They're just long now. I've seen Inception probably 100 times. I had my time with him. I think I broke after the third Batman movie. Something just snapped within me. It's never the same. Updated VNOC Warlord that bonds with Aquila Army 2. Honestly, I think you just give a VNOC Warlord or the Rannoch Warlord Hunter synergies, and that automatically ties into a lot of Aquila's force there. You have like the Quasach and like what other hunter? I know there's a few hunters in Aquila that need the support, but it might just be VC. Now I gotta look this up. This is important. I guess she just says Quasach Hunters. Huh. I always felt like she had a lot more, but I think that's just feces slipping in. But something that works with Quasach and Ranox would be cool. Honestly, just another Ular Warlord would be very much appreciated. Just because we just have one guy. Give us some more Ular Warlords. Of course, making Warlords is hard now with Cobra Troopers. And we're just going through clean up some areas where we're a little sloppy on the other colors here. We're getting there. Slowly but surely. I finished the Thorman I was painting the other day in stream. I was really happy with how he turned out. He was probably my... I did some things on him I normally don't do. What do I want to do now? Let's get some more colors of old Gimbal here. I just feel like the Rannochs need a warlord. Like, just something honestly to kind of like make it so you could field all the Vipers together would be kind of cool. Like just a general Viper booster. I've talked about it before, but I would love like this big Viper Alpha. Is your paint tier list for Age of Annihilation still coming out? Yes, I am actively working on that one. That is something I am... that one has a deadline. So that one is that's part of the reason I've been working hard is I'm trying to finish up Age of Annihilation. That's mostly filmed. I might divide that one into 2 parts just because I'm back and forth if I want to include Joe, because honestly the G.I. Joe figures are putting me behind, because I think I have everything else at least partly done for for that video. But yes, it will be coming out. That is something that I am hard saying will be here. Now I actually have to do it. See, that's the problem, is I haven't been making enough commitments. I've just been committing things to myself. But when I have deadlines, I'll get off my butt and actually do things. That's the that's the... One of these days I'll just have a stream where I'll plan the schedule for the month, and then you can all hound me about it if I don't do it. I only work under pressure is my downside as a human being. And I work really good under pressure, but I hate it. I just want to be this lazy artist. Can the Quassuch Hunters attack 3 separate figures? Yes. Yes, I mean, if I understand your question correctly, they can attack any figure next to them. So they go up into a crowd of people, they can attack every figure surrounding them. And then each Quassuch can do that when they attack, which is pretty nice. They can clear out some huddled together people pretty well. I do think it's interesting how we're kind of getting these combo alliances, and instead of going for like wizards, the obvious Aquila, who are kind of binding because they both share that, they went for knights as their kind of binding faction, which I thought was interesting. It's a different take. I don't hate it. I love it, but they took kind of something Jandar's thing, and they said, we own the knights now. That's our thing. But to please getting bonding, so I'm not complaining. Put some ivory on these horns here. Probably gonna have to go back and tone these down, I bet. I actually hope they re-release the Quasach, because I don't have those ones official either. I have, ones I repainted of Zute, but not like official ones. And it's hard for me to justify the cost since they are just reprints. I hope they do a Quasach box that's also Zute and have cards for both. That way you can just have 2 squads at the price of 1, and same for Granite Guardians and Obsidians. Would be kind of cool. What color is Teeth? He is silver teeth as well. I was almost tempted to paint this dragon in reverse, have the outside be green, and have Gimbal be metallic on the inside, just to be LOL funny. When painting Teeth, you definitely want to look at it from all angles, as it's quite easy to miss parts. I'm probably going to airbrush the glow inside of his mouth just to make it a bit easier. What is Gimbal, anyways? He's a little tiny dragon guy. He's a... So, and here, Gimbal is the name of this little guy. And he built himself a giant mech dragon to ride around. He's a dragon riding a robot dragon. I want a dragon I can ride around. Everyone needs a luck dragon. I showed my kids the Never-Ending Story the other day, and they were really perplexed. They said, "Why is it called The Never-Ending Story? The movie ended." And I said, "It didn't end because you're talking about it." And they said, "What? We're 5. We cannot understand that." And I said, "Fair. It doesn't really make much sense." Let's see if we can get some brighter highlights on old Gimbal's spines here. We'll just get some pure silver here. And let's see if we can trace out these very clear kind of lines on the spine. So I think I'm just going to use pure silver. Sometimes it's nice to blend the 2 colors together, and other times you want to just go for that strong contrast. That's one thing speed paints are good at is metallics. They're a lot like inks, and they come on quite smooth. Which is nice, because metallics have a lot of metal mica fragments in them. And sometimes those can make it a bit streaky, depending on the type of it. But if you get something nice and smooth going, you're set. Alright, that's better. I want to do extra. Important thing to learn about metallics is that it's also just paint. So you want to apply your layers, your highlights, just like you would your standard colors. Sometimes I really struggled when I first was starting because I struggled to know what to do with metallics. How do you add highlights? How do you do all that kind of stuff? And you just build up the colors, and you use a lot of glazing to get the tones and the shadows a spot where you want. And dry brushing looks really good on metallics, if you're using true metallics. Alright, let's get some black on the palette here. We need to count Pinface in Heroscape. I've seen him pop up. I don't know what his deal is. What's the deal with Count Pinface? Frankly, I've been too lazy to even look it up. What's my base coat? We worked with black primer, then we used a zenithal with dark brown. We used Pro Acrylic Copper via airbrush. Then we used a bit of mahogany and a bit of royal brown in places, pretty much to a glaze consistency to fill in these shadows. Then we dry brush back over copper, and then we dry brush brass for that last bit of shininess. He's running for Senate in England. He might win because most instead of running, that would be hilarious. Oh yeah, so he's just this big trash can man that just will just rule Europe. That's pretty great. I'm down. I think all leaders of countries should be decided who who can win the most Heroscape games is really how they should decide it. Does that mean like someone like Chris Perkins would rule the world? Most likely. I am fine with that. There are worse people could put in charge. It's quite the process. Nice, thank you. Yeah, it's relatively simple. He's so well. We cheated with the airbrush, so that saved us a lot of time. That saved us. That saved us the session today of just us painting copper onto our onto our dragon friend here. But I'm liking the gradient we're getting. It's pretty nice. I'd vote for Chris. Yeah, a vote for Chris is a vote for tomorrow. That's the thing about Heroscape. You see all these personalities, lots of names are thrown around, and you always think that they're going to be kind of like jerks. Like you're like, Chris Perkins, the best player in the world, is I'm playing against, and he's just a chill dude. Nick the Ant is just a chill dude. Everyone, all the top players are just chill people. But so we're going back and just adding a bit more of shadow here using that dark brown. But this reddish brown, this royal brown ink I'm using here is very red coated. It's a red brown. Which is giving us a very rich tone for this copper we're using. It's very thin, so I can kind of spread it around how I need it to. I gotta start experimenting with oil washes. I think I'll have to do that for SI4X. Just to fill in his cape properly. But I've kind of been tiptoeing around it with inks and glazes, and it's a lot nicer than your standard wash. Just having that control is really nice. Yeah, that's one thing a lot of people do wrong with True Metallics. Is they just use it straight out of the bottle. They just slap it onto your model, and since it's naturally very reflective, it feels right when you do. But the shadows never like have that depthness or that richness to it. And the easiest way is just taking some colors. Like if you have like a lighter silver, use a bit of light blue or like a turquoise as the shade, and you'll have just this a lot richer blade compared to just black wash. That's not to say you don't use black wash. It's nice just to have solid shadows. But if you're looking for something a bit more, let's say you have like a knight with a sword. If you don't want it to all look kind of just like a muddied, same colored mess, adding some different kind of glazes to your metallics can really just make it appear a bit more visually interesting. You could do some brass highlights. Yeah, I did some initially. I'll probably have to rebuff them up, kind of toned them down a bit. I was using light brass actually, which looks really nice for it. We're looking to get these edges re-highlighted. We'll probably do more of some brass. You can see a bit more on the head because I haven't been working on the head as much, but you got that subtle little there. But I've toned it down so much with the glaze, so I'm probably just gonna have to go back and boost them up. But yeah, brass on top of copper is a really good way to go. Alright, let's get Gimbal a little bit more painted up here. I think I need to change his control panel. It just seems but just a little bit of contrast in the center I think will help. Add some edge highlights to that. I think honestly I'm not dark enough for his straps. Is his straps brown? It's hard to tell on the model. I guess I could just do what I want. I am painting my own model. Yeah, I don't want to do too bold of a color because it'll draw your eyes there apart from the green. So we'll just keep them brown and just work on tidying them up a bit. But yeah, brass looks really nice in copper. I for one welcome our new Chris Overlords, yeah. And we're just using the edge of our brush now to try to be a little bit more deliberate with these highlights here. I think the next one I paint will be like all covered in verdigris and kind of look like a rundown version of the mech, I think is what I'm going to go for. Just for something different. Let's see, while we're waiting for this to kind of dry here, we can start working on this guy over here. See, this right here is what the copper looks like without the glazes on it. It's fine. It's serviceable, but it's missing a bit of that depth. That's also one thing that is just really encouraging to me about the the Heroscape community is that, like, top or bottom, there's just really good people all around. And, like, I know it's been said a lot, but I wouldn't be here doing this if it wasn't for just the good people that invest and this, invest in the game, invest in me as just a human and a player. Like it's so encouraging. Like I say, this is my therapy, but it's like it's a silly little game, but I like the people a lot. I don't. I wouldn't travel halfway across the country for many other people. Should Gimbal create a different head that mimics different dragon types? I think that would be cool. I honestly would rather have different hands. I wish Gimbal had like one giant clawed hand. These two tiny hands are kind of, they're just a little small. Like I wish, but I'm trying to think. On the only acceptable answer would be a Ghidorah 3-head would be kind of fun. I really want a multi-headed dragon in Heroscape. Like people keep on saying undead dragon for Revna, and I feel like that boxes her in too much. Just like Ular was for a while, just the elf general. Like give her different species and stuff like that, and have her have lots of undead. Have that be her theme, but don't make it all she gets. Give her like a multi-headed Tiamat S dragon, like an outcast from a Kyrian society. That would be pretty cool. Like the twins. I am interested to see if any like 3D modelers or modders out there will feel so compelled as to make different things. Like I would, if I was at ScapeCon and Master Roshi made like a custom press fit head for Gimbal, I'd snatch that up in a second, even if it was like a goofy head or something. I would love that. A unique squad of twin dragons for Revenant? That would also be cool. Honestly, I would like some more unique squads of things. I heard it mentioned in the chat the other day, but unique Morrow squads would be very nice to have. Like, it would kind of be nice to counteract the waves of common swarms. To have some, like, because I think we just have the Morrow warriors, but just some kind of, your fill in different niches. We're about due for another Morrow squad. It's been far too long. But yeah, a unique squad of dragons would be really cool. Something like that gives them the ability to supplant chosen lieges, I think would help the science so much. Pretty much if like your chosen liege dies, you can take a turn with these two dragons or something. I don't know how you would phrase it. Because it'd be cool if we could work with freed scales and almost kind of give like a Kraken-esque ability for them to like steal a turn. Like at the start of the game, if you have a dragon unique hero in your army and anyone can take a turn with it, if that dragon hero falls, you can take a turn with the squad instead, or something like that. Like something that the text is wordy or hard to do, but like the ability for it to supplant or steal chosen lieges would be really nice. Because that's the problem I have with like science and green skills is, oops, I whiffed on Nilfheim. I guess I'm just out of the game. Or I'm going to try very, very hard. And it's just a style of play. I'm not a fan of king builds personally. Like I don't mind people running them. I'm not good at them. If I have a king build, someone's gonna snipe me like turn 2 and I'll be done. I like to see a common hero that works like a squad where you can take a turn with a bunch of them. Honestly, it's surprising we don't have that, as considering we had so many common heroes. Honestly, my pitch for a unit like that would be like Spartans. That you just have an army of common heroes. That maybe you get to take a turn with more of them the more are engaged or something like that. So you're just kind of like, you're forced to draft them in bulk. I think would be kind of cool. I know VC has some fun common hero tropes, but that's kind of what I would like to see. I might have to do another historical pitch video. The historical video I made was the most fun because I just gotta talk a lot about history. I had these in a lighter shade of silver at first, and I just felt like it didn't provide enough contrast, visual contrast. So I'm going through and darkening it. Love historical Buddha, that won't happen. Huh, that is an interesting one. I mean, I guess the closest things we have are like the Shaolin monks, but just Buddha himself would be interesting. I am glad these wings detached, though. They do make it easier to paint. Poor Zen Nesbit, just still broken in pieces in my box as I have yet to paint his pieces. Alright, let's give him a bit of terrain to dry overnight. I think, I say it will be done, but we know I'm lying. Where is my... Alright, so this is just some neutral terrain that you can paint quite easily. Honestly, if you could do this before you prime, then you can prime right over it. It's a lot easier. But I kind of forgot to do that. Now we're just going to slather this stuff on. I want it pretty thick as it will dry a little bit thinner than it shows on. And you want to give this a couple hours to dry. Once it dries, you can paint over it, and it's a good way to get your own custom terrain, which is nice. This is aka rough terrain, neutral texture, natural texture. Su would be a cool figure. Let's see what that one is. I don't have that one off the top of my head. So non-combatants in Heroscape. I've toyed around with such concepts. I would honestly like some, like how VC has Ranjit Singh, like just some artists and philosophers. I like that we're getting scientists. Like that's a step in the right direction. I think it's unique, even though they're more military or fighting coded scientists. It is it's cool to see like this new faction develop. Scientists are tricky. Like they're kind of like, you really have to think with them to see what they can do. Like it's a lot of unique and limited activations, but very strong activations. A lot of adjustments and building and changing. It's a fun faction. I'm excited to see kind of where they go with it. Alright, we'll go back and paint this once it dries. But for now, made some pretty good progress. I think we're gonna call it here tonight. I'm pretty wiped tonight, and honestly, I don't have much steam left in me, pardon the pun. But you helped me get through the boring stuff of Gimbal, which is nice. We'll do that last 10% on our own time, and we should have our first Secrets of the Citadel model done. I'll be sure to post a picture once it's all finished up. We'll work on adding some glowing effects in the eyes and the mouth and the hands and all that stuff. And Gimbal in the center could certainly be tidied up a bit. But overall, we're getting there. We got what we need to get done today. Yeah, so sorry for the short stream, y'all, but honestly, I'm on fumes at this point right now, so I'll talk to y'all later. I'm going to PAX 2026. No, I'm not, unfortunately. I would love to. I would love to hit all the cons, all that kind of stuff, but it's not in the cards this year. But maybe next year or the year after that. It's hard balancing those all the cons. And all the travels and all the expenses for sure. But I would love to go to the mall. But I will see you all around. I'll see you next Monday, next Thursday. Be on the lookout for that mentioned my painting tier list of Age of Annihilation. Also some things closing out. Those are being scripted. And if I can just commit to finishing them, we'll get some new stuff going on here. Either way, we'll keep up the streaming and we'll keep up the fun times playing Scape. I'll see you all around.